small business owner that loves God, family, country, and capitalism? If so, you're definitely in the right place. Welcome to the War Plan Briefing. My name is Josh. Today, we're going to talk about 4 hidden pockets of money in a recession. Did you know that there's hidden pools of money laying all around you? You just can't see it. Now, this is obviously a figurative example. It's not literal, or maybe it's literal. If you dig in your couch cushions, maybe there's some money hidden in there. But it has to do with the way that we frame our brain, the way that we look at stuff, the way that we solve problems. And it's extremely difficult to see clearly when you're running a company and you're fighting the good fight and you're holding on and you're in survival mode instead of thrival mode. And I promise you, I understand that. I've been bankrupt. I started in a trailer park. Like, we get it. My wife gets it. Honey, if you're seeing this, I'm sorry for all the trauma bonding we had to go through building businesses. But here's the deal. The economy's funky. I think we know that. The government's weird. Okay? Is it weird? That's a kind way of putting it. Interest rates are going up. There's squeezes happening. And the reality is there's massive opportunity for you, but I don't want you to go broke. I don't want you to run out of money. I don't want you to panic and make silly decisions. And I need you to think differently. Just a couple hours ago, I was on the phone with Myron Golden. He called me and had a question about something, and we talked. It was a pretty brief call. He said he'd call me back, though. So Myron, he called me back, right? I'm talking to him and once again reminded of how different certain high-achieving people think than kind of everybody else, including myself, right? And how optimistic he was, and just the way he views things is fundamentally different than other people. And it's not because he makes millions of dollars a month, although he does. He was like that 6 years ago when I first met him. He wasn't doing that at that time, right? He's literally been the same way. He just views it different. But because of the way he approaches stuff, the way he solves problems, the way he has certainty and confidence, it creates more opportunity for him. He's like a money magnet, truly. So anyway, let's talk about some of the things you can do as a local small business owner to pull more profit, to protect your money, even if there is a painful recession, which I think it's becoming increasingly obvious. It's going down, right? The first thing is to focus on stickiness. In software, we have a term called churn. Churn is one of the most important KPIs for a software company if you want to sell it for a lot of money. If you have a high churn, you can't sell it for a lot of money. And churn is what percentage of your active customers leave you month over month over month, right? If you have a 1% churn, that's like a unicorn number. That means if you have 100 subscribers, one of them cancels that month. And then the next month you might get 3 more and 1% cancels again. And that would be amazing. With a service company, we don't use language like this. So if you have like a home service company or a restaurant or a brewery or some other thing, you still need to look at churn and stickiness. Now in software, again, as an example, smart software CEOs are trying to figure out ways to make their product more sticky. How do you take a customer and make them captive? How do you keep them like forever? If you look at a CRM, do you have a CRM? Everybody has a CRM. Facebook, do you have a CRM? Here's the deal with the CRM is that the pain of disconnect is really high with a CRM, which is why CRM softwares are worth a fortune. It's such a pain in the butt nightmare to cancel your CRM, export all your stuff, rebuild and set it all up, train your admin staff and your train your whole company on the new one. Why? So you can save $80 a month because it's cheaper? No, people don't do that, right? They have to be really upset to make a switch. There has to be a lot of pain for them to switch. Now, the question for you is that true for whatever it is that you sell? How easy is it for your past customers to only think of you when they're ready to do their next service? How certain are you that you have a captive customer, right? Customers during a recession are going to become more and more and more valuable. So think of during the Great Depression in the 1930s, okay? I remember my grandfather, who was born in the late 30s, would just tell me stories how back then they would pull a rusty nail out of a board that was bent. They'd pull a bent nail out and they would hammer it straight and save it in a tin can, right? They saved everything. They were very resourceful. They were thrifty. Now, part of that could be bad, but it also speaks to an important mindset shift that I want you to have. You see, we have been living in this like abundant time period for a few years where really it's just been the most roaring, insane economy. You could be bad at what you do and make 6 figures. Like you could not be good and your phone still rings all day. You can have 2 stars on Google and there's still enough deal flow coming in for you to survive. Well, that's about to change, my friend. It's about to change. And so maybe the way you look at your past customers, your book of business, maybe you're not treating them as precious as you should be, right? So when I talk about churn, it's how do we keep the people we already have longer stronger? How do we make them worth more money to us? How do we increase the frequency in which they engage our services and buy from us? You can double your company without getting any new customers. Did you know that? What if they got 2 cleanings a year instead of 1, right? What if the frequency doubled, right? What if you upsold people that already trust you into a higher ticket offer that you haven't had before, but you could have now, right? So this is a way of thinking that when I talked to Myron earlier, he kind of inspired this video for me, is think outside the box. You don't have to just do a bunch of marketing and get your phone to ring. We have to take your precious, valuable customers that already know, like, and trust you, that have already built the foundation that you have, and we have to increase the frequency, increase the pain of disconnect, make them never want to go to somewhere else. How do you serve them in unexpected ways and wow and delight them? How do you over-deliver and manage expectations? How do you under-promise and over-deliver? How do you do these things? Because it creates real margin for you. It creates real growth for you. And sometimes we're so busy chasing the next pretty girl, so to speak, meaning new customer, that we forget to totally take care of the ones that have got us to where we are. The second example I want to give you on how to reframe your brain during these hard times is to think like Galvarino. Now, Galvarino is this fascinating story. My 16-year-old son actually sent me like an Instagram or a TikTok. He's like, "Dad, watch this." So then, of course, I go down the Google rabbit hole. I'm like, this Galvarino guy is freaking crazy, right? And you can go read the Wikipedia about the story of Galvarino, but here's the deal with him. And I'll miss some of the details because it's off the top of my dome, but it doesn't matter because the point stands and remains the same. Galvarino was like a Peruvian warrior in the 1500s, okay? A tribal man. He was a warrior of a tribe in the freaking rainforest, and the Spanish conquistadors had come to South America, Central America, and were just pillaging everything. They were conquering nations. They had advanced technology. They had more people. They had everything, right? And these tribal people were like not going to be able to win. Well, except for Galvarino's people. You see, Galvarino was so scary as a warrior that he was kicking butt. Then he got caught. And they chopped his hands off. They did not kill Galvarino. They wanted to make an example of Galvarino to intimidate all of his tribespeople to stop fighting them. They chopped both of his freaking hands off and then let him go back to his tribe. But to their surprise and to their horror, Galvarino, because he's a maniac in a good way, he strapped swords onto his stubs and went back to fight more. And he ended up dying. But here's the thing, he galvanized his people so much that for 300 years, they kept fighting, they never conceded defeat, and eventually got their independence and kind of won. And it took a long time. So what's the point of that story? The point of the story is Galvarino didn't complain about not having enough resources. He found a way to be resourceful. Now, I'm not telling you have to chop your arms off and put swords on your bloody nubs, okay? But the mentality like that is what helps people crush it during hard times. People want to blame external factors on why they're failing instead of going internal and saying, how can I use what I got effectively? How can I take what's inside of me and still win? How can I use limited resources to get outsized returns and extraordinary results? How can I do that? How can I have geometric growth while everyone else is panicking? I'm not saying pipe dream things to you, okay? Because this stuff is difficult stuff, but there's a stark difference between people that win and everybody else. And this is one of those things you'll notice if you look closely, is that the winners have a Galvarino spirit behind them. And they can make lemonade out of a lemon without the sugar. They find a way to do the impossible. So go do that stuff too. The third hidden pocket of money for you during an economic slowdown is making affluent offers. Who are you selling your stuff to right now? Some of them are probably the rich people. Some of them are kind of fake McMansion, fake rich. They have a high income, but they're like super stressed out and in debt. Some people maybe are on retirement incomes. But during an economic slowdown, there's still a big opportunity to serve and sell things to the affluent community. Because the reality is, you've heard the rich get richer and the poor get poor. You've heard that, right? Well, there's elements of truth in that. But the other thing is that affluent people are less affected by these slowdowns. Most multimillionaires have companies. And these people that have all this money, they're not stressed out that gas is $4 instead of $3. Like, they're not worried about it, right? Their buying behaviors change a little bit, but not in the same way as everybody else. And I'll give you an example. So people that have a lot of money, they value speed almost over anything else. And I had a phone call this morning with a guy who is a super talented guy. He's a brand expert guy. And I'm trying to get help to have him consult me, how do I do my brand image and the identity? And I'm trying to do YouTube. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. And I'm talking to him and he's telling me these different things he can sell me. And I'm saying, well, what do you got? And one of the first things he said was this 12-week course about branding and brand guidelines and the psychology of your avatar and how to really do this. And it was really amazing stuff, but it just caused anxiety in me because I didn't want that. I'm like, I literally physically cannot go through a 12-week course. I just want the problem solved. Like, tell me a more expensive thing where I don't have to do stuff. That's what I was thinking in my head. And towards the end of the call, I actually told him that. I'm like, bro, like, let me write you a bigger check where I don't have to do stuff. Like, that's the offer I want. I don't want to have to think about it. I don't want to have to do it. And if you didn't grow up with a lot, and we didn't, I mean, Ashley and I got married 21 years ago. We didn't have anything. We lived in a trailer park, right? I didn't think like that then. And it would have been almost impossible for me to believe that anyone thought like that. Who would write a $100,000 check for something just to go faster? Well, it turns out millions of people would write that check. But if you can't see that that's even a possibility, you'll never make a high ticket offer. You'll never offer a different bundle of your services that gets it done quicker or adds an advanced layer of service to the offer, and it's way more money because you'll be so freaked out. You'll think no one will buy it. They will buy it. And now is the perfect time for you to lean into this idea and play around with it and beat it up and kind of test it and wrap your head around it, because guess what? What if they say yes? What if the most expensive thing you sell is a $1,000 thing? And what if you sold a $10,000 thing? Would that be helpful for you? Because there's people you're already talking to every day that would buy that thing, but you don't make an offer for it. It doesn't exist. So go do that. And last but not least, number 4, pocket of money hidden for you, waiting for you during this recession and the slowdown. I call it referral inception, right? We all know that referrals are great, right? You know, referrals are pre-qualified leads. They kind of show up to you mostly sold. You ever notice that? If you walk up to someone on the street and try to sell them your stuff, good luck, that's tough. But if someone calls you and says, Betty told me to call you, said you're the best, I'd like to get a price for my thing, you're done. It's a slam dunk. It's a home run. She kind of already has an idea of the price. She's already borrowed trust from her friend Betty to then call you. And so the sale, it's there. Like, the hole is next to the ball is next to the hole. You just got to tap it in. So referrals, they usually have a higher average ticket. They usually have a way higher close rate. But the other thing that they have is they have more referrals, right? Referral inception is understanding that if you get 100 referrals, do you know how valuable that is? And here's what I mean. Number 1, the 100 referrals is going to produce another 23 referrals. And the 23 referrals of the referrals are going to produce another 11 referrals. So now we have a referral of the referral of the referral. Are you picking up? I could do this all day. Okay, so it's referral inception. What would happen if you increased your referrals 5x? Because when I had my service company in Michigan, I implemented one system. It had 6 parts to it. And we literally 10x'd. It's a popular buzzword. I understand that. Shout out to Grant Cardone. We literally 10x the amount of referrals we got. And not only did I have no customer acquisition cost to get them, but they're pre-qualified, higher average ticket. They're more likely to give me more referrals, and the people they refer are more likely to give me referrals. And then last but not least, the cherry on top, do you know how much a freaking customer is even worth to you? Because if you're a window cleaner that sells a $300 job, what you're not understanding on accident, because I love you and I didn't understand it, is that $300 job is actually probably $2,400 in lifetime value with resells, upsells, referrals, all the other stuff. Plus, it increases the enterprise value of your company if you ever want to sell it. Is your head exploding? Is it just me? Hey, look. Referrals, customers, they're valuable. I need you to look at it different, just like Myron Golden. Think outside the box, solve problems asymmetrically, and I hope you get value out of this video. If you haven't yet, would you be willing to subscribe? I think I have 13 or 14 subscribers. Maybe you could be the 15th. That's like a lucky number. Or, tell me your story in the comments. I'm going back through. I'm trying to read all the comments for real because I care. And my wife, Ashley, and I are built to serve entrepreneur families. I want to help you go faster and make more money. And until next time, God bless and take care.